The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
This is Haymaker Combat Sports. Here, coming straight from the source. Only with the real, they ain't here to dress it up. Sweet science, MMA, you can get it all from us. Trust, 5 stars cause it's live. And through the fight game, we can guide ya. Slick talking, putting them in caution. Passing all the goals cause the audio is awesome. What you waiting for? Spread the word, tell a friend. This the podcast where all of the discussion ends. When they start going strike for strike, this the show that'll tell you what you seen in the fight. And they ain't playing on the mic, this a welcome to the show. Warm it up for the squad, Haymaker of the bros. I'm about wow, you can hear from the pros. It's Haymaker Combat Sports, time to roll.
Welcome, Haymaker Combat Sports, powered by the Belly Up Sports Media Network. I'm your host, EJ Reed, joined by my fellow hosts, Aaron Admire, Steve Johnson, Chris Sanders. What's up, fellas?
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Same here, man.
Like the fellas said, happy Monday. This will be out on a Tuesday, and this is a special 100th episode of Haymaker Combat Sports. I was doing the editing for the last show we did. I'm like, this is 99? And I'm like, shit, episode 100 next. And it really we've done more than 100 because I don't include the quickie episodes in the canon of the show. So 100 episodes, and Chris has a little bit of wine to celebrate the occasion. What you got there, man?
Some red wine. I don't know what it is, but just sound light. 100. We at the 100 mark. I mean, we made it. Some pods don't even get this far. You know what I'm saying? We stuck it out, so we're here. So it's time to celebrate.
Yeah, you are right. Some podcasts that don't make it to the 100 episode mark. So definitely glad that we've got to do that. And just to give like some of the newer listeners like the origin and the backstory of the podcast. So me and Admire's friend Chris Rucker, he has a podcast, Boot to the Face, and it's a wrestling podcast. And Marty Vasquez has some other, things that he had to get done, so he wasn't able to do the show anymore. So Rucker came up to me and asked if I wanted to hop on the podcast. I'm like, shit, why not? I hadn't done a podcast up to that point. I'm like, why not? So I took over Marty's spot in the show, and also watching Admire and Rucker do their show 80 Proof, which is a general lifestyle podcast that they used to do, and seeing how much fun they had doing that. I'm like, shit, I watch a lot of MMA. I should start my own MMA podcast, already watching the fights, might as well, try to start something and talk about it. So I reached out to Admire and he was down to do it. Reached out to our friend Jay, who's also on 80 Proof, to produce some of the early episodes. And, when I first got to Jeff City and meeting Steve in the shop he was working at it, we always talked about MMAs. So that's another person I had in mind to do it. And I asked Steve to jump on. He was down to do it too. And about 10 episodes into it, I'm like, why not expand to doing all combat sports and still some boxing in there and whatever we're going to talk about, grappling or whatever. And then I'm like, I actually know somebody used to do some boxing, some amateur boxing. So Chris Sanders, one of my friends I've known for a long time, I reached out to him, and the rest is history. And now we're here. So I just kind of want to go around the room and, get everybody's thoughts on experience on working on the podcast. We've been doing it for a little bit over 2.5 years, which is crazy. We're going on 3 next year. So I'll let you kick it off, Admire.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like we've been doing it that long, but we have. It's been fun, and what I like about our show versus the other ones is we mess up a lot of times. Like a lot of times when we're trying to recall fights, like we misremember stuff. We say people's names wrong. Like we are truly doing it from a fan's point of view. And, it's just, we're laid back. A lot of the other podcasts and people are super professional about it. And we're just laid back. We're really doing it from a fan's point of view. And I think that makes it more relatable than most shows, to where, we're just the everyman, we're the small guy. We're not trying to hit it big and, all that. Just, we're just cool and relaxed and shooting the shit about fights.
Steve?
Yeah, definitely. Coming into this space, actually, my first and as of right now, only space online to be socially reach people as far as combat sports. I would say my personality is mostly introvert, but this has actually helped me to get outside of my comfort zone and network with people, meeting Chris and Admire, and always loved MMA. So when EJ gave the call to ask if I wanted to be a co-host, uh, I was down. So uh, and like Admire said, sometimes we'll go back, you might watch an episode, and I'm like, dang, I called Leon Edwards Jeff Neal or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, I messed up. But like we said, we're just a regular person. If we saw him, we would recognize our mistakes. But I mean, overlap fights, especially if you've been a fan of UFC or other combat sports for a long time, those fights start to collide together, and saying memory starts getting mixed up. So, but other than that, man, this is my experience being on the podcast.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Chris?
Man, this was an opportunity out of, I don't know, like you just hit me out of nowhere, EJ, and like, hey, I got a podcast. I'd like you to pull up. I'm like, a podcast? What do you mean you got a podcast? Yeah, I do a combat sports podcast, and we're gonna do a boxing episode. So I want you to do it. I was like, oh, this is night and day for me. I didn't know what to expect. You guys made this so easy transition. This is almost like talking in the barber shop or just talking to your friends. Like it's not even like we have fun doing this. I have fun doing this. Like it's not really like you guys said, getting names wrong or getting the fights wrong. Like it's just normal talk, normal guys, just being regular. Like we're just a normal fans. Like we're not trying to like do more than like ESPN or anything like that. We're just being regular, and this is a platform for that. I think this is what needs to be done. Regular talk, real opinions. There's nobody paying us to talk the way that we talk. We talk how we want to talk, and we say what we want to say. So I think it's a blessing to have this type of platform.
For sure. Definitely co-sign all of y'all sentiment. And, like am I saying, this is like a grassroots podcast. We literally started it from scratch out of nowhere. It had no co-signs going in, and eventually got on the Belly Up Sports Media Network. So we're still trying to grow it. So we're, like Amar said, we're not getting paid for it, but the goal is to get the show as big as possible. So hopefully we can keep growing it and start monetizing in the future. But so far it's been a fun experience, and it's good, talking with friends about something that we all enjoy watching. Like if it wasn't for this, like I only see Chris like every few years or so, but I get to see him more often. Knowing him for 17 years, and getting to shoot the shit with Admire and Steve. So it's definitely been a positive experience. So let's get into the fun part of this episode, and I sent some topics to everyone. We kind of do some superlatives on a lot of things that's happened since we started doing this show. And I want to kick it off with biggest story in the combat sports world. It's just all for our opinions. I didn't talk about what anybody picked except for one topic, just because I had to put clip for it, but all the other ones I'm hearing y'all answers on the fly, so I'm curious to see what y'all chose on some of these topics. But let me kick it off. I'll go with what I think the biggest story in the world of combat sports during our first 100 episodes, and I'll go with the low-hanging fruit. I'll go with TKO purchasing both the WWE and the UFC it was Endeavor actually buying WWE and UFC and creating a super company, TKO. This happened like maybe the first month or two we started doing the show. And I don't know, the results haven't come in yet, whether this has been a good deal or bad deal. If y'all want to hear me and Rucker's opinion on the WWE side of things, you got to tune in Boots to the Face. But as far as the UFC side of things, I think they've done what they came to do, and that's make money. And, that might be to the detriment of the fans' pockets, because from what we see, and I was going to Zupa Boxing. We talked Zupa Boxing the last show, and if you see these tickets for these events, these prices are astronomical. And the point of having a business is to make the most money you can, so you don't blame the shareholders. But as fans, they're like, if I want to go to a show, I'm gonna have to pay $400 for nosebleeds? Like, how do they expect fans to actually attend these shows unless you're a celebrity? So I just think that's the biggest story. What are your thoughts on that, Am I?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good one. The biggest story to me is actually a non-story.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest story to me is a non-story. We talk about Conor McGregor more than any other fighter, and Conor McGregor hasn't had a fight since we've had a show. Think about that. Conor McGregor hasn't had a fight since 2021, and we talk about this dude more than any other fighter because he stays in the news. And I would say 90% of it has been negative. He's had a lot of run-ins with the law. He's had court cases. He's had accusations. One of the first things I believe that we would bring our own news stories was like he was promoting something at a basketball game and he hit that mascot, and he hit it a lot harder than he was supposed to. Then there was accusations that he did something to a girl at that basketball game in the bathroom or something. Then he went through a court case over in Ireland. There was stuff that happened in different places. He was in a movie. He's part of BKFC now. Like, there's just so many things. He was supposed to fight Chandler, the Ultimate Fighter. Like, this dude stays in our mouths, and he hasn't fought once. That is the biggest story to me. Like, how does this happen?
Yeah, that's definitely up there. That's crazy. He hasn't fought since 2021?
Yeah.
2022, 2022.
2021, Dustin Poirier, a UFC 264.
That's insane. He's definitely a polarizing figure, and I'm tired of talking to him, to be honest, I don't even believe it until the week of the fight. And even then, I might not believe that he's fighting. I think he might be banned from the show unless he does something ridiculous where he goes to jail. We have to talk about it because I'm tired of talking about this. And we'll be getting into the next show we do about, he was at BKFC, and it's just a mess with Conor McGregor. And apparently he wants to fight on the Washington card, the White House card, right?
Yeah, he said he wants $100 million to do it, which you can't pay somebody that hasn't fought 4 years $100 million. What? Get out of here, man.
That means he doesn't want to.
Is he worth it though? We've been talking about him since 2001. He hasn't had a fight. Is he worth $100 million?
I gotta say no, especially because if it's the White House fight, we talked about how's the logistics of it work. You can't have like a full crowd at the White House, so you can't sell tickets. So you don't have the gate bringing in money, so it's definitely not going to have the same money coming in that it normally does. So you can't pay him $100 million, especially when his normal, purse is a couple $1 million or whatever. There's no way they could pay him $100 million, especially when, I don't know what Floyd's biggest purse has been, but there's no way Conor's going to get $100 million.
I believe you. I'm just saying. So on the White House, EJ brought up earlier, how expensive the tickets are, right? Nosebleeds is $400. Nosebleeds in the White House, how that looks like, it's not going to be $400. It's going to be way more than that to be at the White House. I don't know. There's money there. I feel like people are going to want to watch this big fight at the White House. Even if we don't go there, pay-per-view is going to be big. Ordering this fight is going to be big. There's money to make off the White House fight.
Definitely there is.
Conor being that big name, like you said, we've been talking about him. He shows up. Eyes are going to watch the White House fight. We're going to all watch. We're all tune in. We're all tuning in. The whole world's going to tune in at that point.
Yeah, but it's also... Yeah, but it's also who do you match him against? Like we're talking about, he's been out for 4 years. You can't throw him against the top contender because you don't even know what this dude's gonna do. You don't even know if he's gonna show up. You don't know if he's gonna pass a piss test. You don't know what he's gonna bring to the table because right now he is bringing his name to the table. That he's gonna bring pay-per-view buys, but you're gambling a lot. They're gambling a lot on him, which. They are going to get the payoff this one, but there's probably not going to be any payoff after, so this is a one and done probably. I don't know. You're right. It's going to bring a lot to the table this time, but I don't know. It's a kind of wait and see. I don't know.
So
you're right. I think you're 100% right with the payoff now. No payoff after. I don't know what he's gonna bring, but you're 100% right. The payoff today, he gonna get the money. I think he get that money.
And y'all both make good points. So looking at it in a vacuum, yeah, you would probably give him that money. But looking at the grand scheme of things, and we talked about this on the last show, so we have to see what happens with this Zuffa boxing, because these boxers aren't going to take pay cuts just to fight under Dana White's banner. But I don't think they will let Conor reset the market and pay him $100 million, because they're like, oh, we got to pay the rest of these fighters. So that's the only thing I think that's going to prevent him from getting something like that. I know he's not going to get that money, actually.
Oh, and that's a point. That's a good point. We got to remember that by the time that White House card happens, they're going to be on Paramount. So there's not going to be a pay-per-view structure then. That's going to be on the Paramount, where it's just a subscription-based service. So you're not going to have those pay-per-view points in buys and extra money. So that really gets that $100 million not really realistic.
Yeah, for sure. Anything to add to that, Steve?
Yeah, I was about Admire. He took it out of my mind. I was gonna say that, and also on top of that, the only thing Conor's been two out is he didn't leave as a champion like John Jones, so he could have options. He didn't leave out on top. Matter of fact, he left on a loss, not even title contention. I would say the only option for Conor now is a legacy fight. Because you can't put him up to somebody as a test. Like, Conor is prestige. You don't want him fighting nobody. And Conor's not going to fight nobody to get a name off him to possibly knock him out. If he loses, it's going to be worth it. Or bring in, and I highly doubt for one fight, but a legacy fight, Nate Diaz or something.
Yep, I was going to say Diaz McGregor 3 is the only fight that makes sense.
Other than that, we don't care if he's going to fight at nobody. Like, what's the point? We want some drama, some backstory, or at least, somewhere where it can't be somewhere where somebody's on top. It's going to have to be a legacy fight, or else that's where the odds are he's going to fight again is very slim, because those are his options.
Yeah, that Diaz fight would be the biggest one it could do, but I've got another one that's probably be close. Like him and rematching against Holloway.
That would be huge, man. That would do a huge one, because they've only fought once. Holloway is a completely different fighter. I think their first fight took place
2013.
Yeah, I was going to say it's been 12 years. So, they're both completely different people. That would be a huge fight as well. And that would be a good retirement fight for Holloway.
I think that'd be Conor's involuntary retirement fight. I think Holloway would probably knock his block off.
I think that'd be awesome. I like that fight better than the Diaz trilogy.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see. And they really are trying to go forward this White House fight. I feel like we're living in that Mike Judge movie, that Idiocracy. Yeah. What are we doing? But like you said, we all be tuned in, so it is what it is. But Steve, what's the story that you picked in the past 2.5 years of the show?
Oh, man. I would say anything within MMA or combat sports is big news.
MMA, boxing, combat sports in general.
I would say creating an avenue, or like we're going in new territory in the twilight. Certain fights are happening. Like, who would have thought Ngannou and Tyson Fury would have fought? And that happened. And then Ngannou kind of gave us some hope, because he did good in that fight, but then got smashed by Anthony Joshua. But the whole paradigm of what can come together in combat sports altogether, of course, past 2.5 years, that paradigm we came into that portal with sort of Conor McGregor and Mayweather, and then it kind of slimmed down. But now it's like people are seeking opportunities, and even talks of Ngannou fighting Wilder, these new possibilities that probably weren't here, 10, 15 years ago. But I think it's opened up avenues, like I said. Who would have known Tony Ferguson would fight what was his name? An influencer on the internet.
Salt Poppy.
Salt Poppy, yeah.
I like him.
So-
I actually like him. I like him as a
Oh,
fighter.
he got some little bit of hands too.
He got some hands. Yeah, he kind of. I remember he's to do that. Wait, no,
He does the
Southpaw.
fake run. He does the fake
The
run.
fake, that's him, right? Yeah, I like him. Yeah, he can throw some hands. He's all right.
So yeah, that's what I would say.
That is an interesting, story. Like the past 3-4 years, how long they've been doing it. It's been picking up more steam since we started the show. Like you said, you had Ngannou versus Tyson Fury, and Ngannou getting knocked out by Joshua.
Yeah.
Silva didn't Silva fight Jake Paul?
Yeah.
And got beat.
Almost forgot that. Yeah.
Yeah, Mike Perry fought Jake Paul. Like, there's been a
Yeah.
lot. Like, yeah, the MMA boxing crossovers like kind of really legitimized over the last couple of years because it used to be a circus fight thing, but now it's being taken a lot more serious. Like even McGregor Mayweather was kind of a circus fight back then, and that was 2016. So yeah, I agree. It's a lot more legitimized now.
Mhm.
What do y'all think the viability is going to the future? Y'all think we'll continue to see this happening in I guess the near future? Admire.
Yeah, I think for sure. I mean, it's more exposure, especially for the MMA guys. A lot of them, when they get out of MMA, it's a safer avenue to go over to boxing, still get exposure, still get money. I think, what was it, like 2 weeks ago, didn't Dan Hooker have a boxing match somewhere or something like that?
Your guess is as good as mine. 'Cause I haven't heard anything about it. What's my guy's name? The English guy. He fought on the one that Tony Ferguson fought. He fought Luke Rockhold. He fought Luke Rockhold.
That's right. Yeah. I think Luke Rocco, he lost. Didn't
Yeah, he knocked him out. He knocked him out.
Yep, that's what I'm thinking of. But who was it?
Darren Till. It was Darren Till that.
Darren Till, yeah, Darren Till, not Hooker.
I watched
Darren Till.
I watched that fight on the plane too because I was watching that. I never heard of the Salt Poppy, so it's interesting. Y'all mentioned him doing fake running. I got to check this out.
Yeah, he does
it all the time. He was a little chubbier
TikTok
too, right?
star.
He was
Yeah,
a
he
little
used to be
chubby.
real chubby.
And he lost
would do
weight.
this shit. He would do this shit on TikTok, and then he would do the fake run.
Yeah. And then he lost weight because he was getting training for boxing. He said, "You know what? I'm gonna do it." And he actually was doing all right. I was like, "Oh, this guy can actually fight. He's all right."
I'm kind of curious though. Like you have Jake Paul. I know he's an athlete, and even Logan Paul did some boxing. This guy, how come these like guys off the street are making it look a little bit easier to fight these professional fighters? I don't. Something smells.
I was saying the same thing too. I was like, I don't know, but you know what? Just to jump on my point, you didn't ask me, but I'm the next in line. I am going to pick the biggest news is Jake Paul for doing this. His impact on boxing and him and his brother's impact on boxing from social media people. The guy saw Poppy. There's other influencers that I've seen that got in boxing rings, right? That opened the door for them to make money. Other ways to make money from just off Instagram and TikTok, whatever they do, they go in the boxing ring. He also opened the door. We got MMA fighters coming over to fight him. And he also opened the door for the boxers I know I went to gyms with that fight on his car, like Amanda and stuff like that. He made money for them where they was able to be, stars on their own cards now, So I'm not a big fan of Jake Paul. Y'all already know how I feel about him. But what he's done to the game, honestly, opened the doors open for other people to fight. I got to put my hat out to him. The respect there. People's made a lot of money because of him. And he's changed the game on how we look at it too, as well. Like he brought
a lot of eyes and exposure to boxing that wouldn't have been there otherwise. Even if people don't like it and don't like the whole influencers coming over, it has, man. It's brought so many eyes to boxing.
He took the Conor blueprint. He took the Conor blueprint, except he didn't go straight in and fight Mayweather, which means he still get the ambience of still talking shit to everybody because I haven't lost. And some of these people don't believe. Well, he believes in himself, but certain people, when they get in that character, it's all character and don't even believe what they say. It's creating animosity. People are talking about it, and certain people can be tricked by the character. You know, if some of y'all in the social media world sort of get people into your conversations, the Charleston White, blueprint, create a character, get people involved and interested, and boom, everybody's watching, whether you believe it or you like them or not. Like everybody, and like you're talking about Connor before.
Before you go off of Charleston White, I want you to. Do you know he had a boxing match?
Yeah, that's another thing.
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
He fought the Island Boy.
He opened the door for these people. He opened the door for all the people in the other world. He opened that door for them to have boxing matches. I think this is crazy.
And that that generates money because a lot of fighters lack character. And let's just say he took the Connor blueprint, and I think Connor turned into believe it. Well, Connor, we're talking about him now. We only want to talk about him, but I think the fame got to him that made him believe it. I believe Jake, honestly, his way he looks at fights, he doesn't really believe that. He knows he has to generate money and create this avenue for other people.
Man, y'all, I'm learning new things. I didn't know Charleston White fought the Island Boy.
There's a whole world of influencers, TikTokers that have been in boxing rings that EJ, if you saw their TikTok page or you saw their YouTube or whatever they do, you will not believe they're fighting in boxing ring. But I believe it's because of Jake Paul opened up that extra door for these, and his brother, give them both respect, open up the door for that window for these guys to transfer over. Like, who did Charles Wall fight? He fought the Island Boy, one of the Island.
Yeah, the Island Boy. Yeah, one of them.
That's crazy. Like, and
it went a few rounds, and he like knocked him out at like the end of the fight, like with like 10 seconds left. He smoked him.
Really?
There's a lot of influencers. So what they're doing is, if they have problems on the whatever social medias they have, they're talking shit to each other. They put that in the boxing ring. All right, let's fight. Let's go in the boxing ring and do that. So. My hat goes out to Jay Paul and all them and his brothers, the Paul brothers, man. They really opened that door for them.
When was this Charleston White fight?
It was,
I would say like 4 months ago.
Yeah, it was a few months ago. So like, if you ever like use your IPTV or something, I notice when I'm scrolling, like once a month or once every other month, it'll be a pay-per-view, like a random boxing thing. It'll be all influencers and like YouTubers and TikTokers and shit. They'll just have a full card of these like minor celebrity things. It's wild.
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of like he just said, a whole bunch of influencers on it from TikTok, YouTube. They're all on it. And I was sitting there watching and there's a few of them that actually can box. There's a few
because they got money. Like they hire some good trainers.
Yeah, like you can see it. Like, oh, hold on. He actually. Because you know me, I'm watching as a boxer. Oh, here we go. I'm like, oh shoot, wait, hold on. He's moving, he's jockeying, he's like whatever, something baby, whatever his name is. I'm watching him in his fights. I'm like, wait, he's really dodging punches because he beat a person that's a pro.
Yeah, wasn't it Caesar or what?
I forgot who he beat. He beat a pro fighter, and he was giving him work.
I think, yeah. A pro fighter. Well, he's a pro fighter, but he was a pro fighter's son. Was it? I can't remember. But yeah.
But he was a pro nonetheless. He fought a pro and he beat him. That was an upset for the pro. But these guys are taking the sport serious. Like they're really going to train and work on their game.
So Jake Paul is kind of an anomaly. Like you said, there is like a world of influencer, but it's kind of a niche. I feel like Jake Paul is one of the few that actually broke through on a bigger level through like the general sports world and sometimes even pop culture. But do y'all think, like I said, is an anomaly, a blip, or you think this will continue in the future? Somebody will come after as far as these influencers? I'll let you kick it off, Chris.
Well, I don't like it because I respect the sport of boxing so much, but I understand what it does. But if the eyes are in that direction is gonna happen. I think with the Floyd Mayweather and McGregor fight, open that door open for a lot of other, like, hey, what happens if this crossover happens? Now we're just gonna see all types of different crossovers. Basketball players got in the ring, football players are in the ring now. Like everybody's in the ring now. So I mean, it's easier to go in a boxing ring than it is a UFC. Like UFC, you have to be ready for everything. Boxing, you only have to worry about punches. So it's a little easier for someone to transition into that, I think. But to me, I think it's disrespectful to the sport to see it, but it's entertainment at the end of the day. So we're here for entertainment.
What do you think, Admire?
I think you're going to continue to see people try to do it, but I don't think you'll ever see anybody as big as Jake and Logan Paul. They had a huge following coming in before this. They were huge YouTubers. And, if you remember Vine, they were huge on Vine. So I don't think you'll see anybody do it like they do. I mean, the way they put the promotion together, the team they had coming into it, their podcast, just everything they had around it, lightning in a bottle. Just, I don't think anybody will ever come close to doing it like they did. And especially once, Jake really gets exposed in the boxing ring, then I don't think anybody will ever put like a YouTuber on that pedestal and give him the chances like he's gotten.
What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I can see it. And just speaking on this topic, I was looking through our podcast list, and we forgot that we were actually talking about Mark Zuckerberg and Elon, one of these podcasts, because they were training, right?
Right.
If they're willing to do it, if somebody's willing to fight, I mean, this is the things that puts entertainment for us humans. You know what I'm saying? Whatever we gravitate to, and who wouldn't want to, even if it's weird matchups, who wouldn't want to see Elon and Zuckerberg duke it out in MMA? But I remember we were talking about that on one of our podcasts, and like I said, I can see it happening because we can see how far it goes. It's another YouTuber, Bradley Martin. I'm only 260. He thinks he can take everybody, but put him in the ring, in which there's been videos to where he went to some jiu-jitsu people and actually manhandled them, But, if he can keep his image out good for long enough, he could have advertised himself to get a fight with somebody. He's saying he can beat up all these boxers or UFC fighters, and that's what kind of avenue Jake Paul created.
Yeah, definitely. And going back to what you said, Admire, I'm hoping you're right. I'm hoping it's just like a Jake Paul and Logan Paul, just how popular it is. I mean, I don't mind, if influencers bring attention to the sport, but I kind of just want them to have like their own separate thing, like their events, like where Chris said that they have a whole event with influencers. I kind of feel weird about it when it mixes with the real boxers. Like you see Serrano on a Jake Paul card. I'm like, these are actually legit world-class fighters, and you're in the undercard of a Jake Paul. So I kind of like it to be separate, but I'm leaning towards what Admire say. I'm thinking Jake Paul and Logan are just anomalies. I don't know if you'll see anybody, get bigger than them and, keep this going. I'm sure Jake Paul do it a few more years and then take his money and chill. But yeah, that's definitely one of the biggest stories. It's dope that you picked that, Chris. But let's move into our next topic that we had on slate. Best fight out of the past 2.5 years of doing this show, or favorite fight, either or. Admire, I'll let you kick it off.
Favorite fight. It's not necessarily the best fight, but it's my favorite fight. I'm gonna go with Sean Strickland versus Izzy, and the reason I picked that fight as my favorite fight is because of how amazing it was to watch. Because the fight started out with Sean Strickland being a plus 500 underdog, and it had the live odds through the whole fight. He started as a plus 500 underdog, and within the last 2 minutes of the fight, he was a minus 800 favorite. You just got to watch the odds change through the whole fight, and just watch him pick up steam through the whole fight, and just watch the tides change. Sean Strickland dominated the whole fight, and he just wasn't supposed to win. none of us gave Sean Strickland a chance. And I remember doing the show, we were like, he doesn't even belong in the same, cage as Izzy. Like, he's going to get smoked. We thought that he was, he kind of got the title shot, on a fluke. Like, he just had the easy way there. He was getting a title shot because he was a loudmouth. Dana White liked him because he, was just a shit talker and bringing eyes to social media and shit like that. But he came and he backed it up hardcore, and just to watch a plus 500 underdog go in there and to dominate like that was just insane. It's a very rare instance that happens. I mean, it was just amazing to see. So like I said, it's not, in my opinion, the best fight, but it was just a crazy moment in the last 2.5 years.
Yeah, so I had when I said it, I had it as favorite fight. So since you picked you picked more so like the upset as being your favorite, I guess, because how much he was down on as far as like favorites.
Yeah, I mean, it was just my favorite moment to just like, wow, like it's because that's what the fight game's about. Like, you never know what's going to happen, and that's why I like the fight game so much. Is that right there? And that's what draws me to the fights, because you never know what's going to happen. And that's also why I don't like betting on fights, because shit like that.
Yeah, that was probably one of the more shocking results as far as our time doing the show. And it was pretty one-sided, though. Strickland pretty much dominated the whole round, especially when he rocked Izzy that first round. Izzy wasn't the same. So that's a pretty interesting pick as favorite fight. I'll let you kick it off next, Chris.
Well, we watched a man become one of the best boxers in the world. And I'm talking about Bud Crawford when he fought Spence. I think at that point, after that, we was all maybe 50-50. Maybe some of us thought Bud would win in a decision. That domination right there, what we saw, already just convinced me that I don't think that guy can ever lose. I don't know who he can lose to. Like, even with Canelo, I didn't think he would lose Canelo. Like, just the way he picked Spence apart. He'd been calling the kid out for so many years. He got the fight he wanted, and he did that. I can't even, I don't even know how to plan for Bud if I was on the other side. Like, he's just so. We just saw a superstar be made right there that night. Like, there was no hands off. Like, all right, this guy's him. So I think that was something special that we was able to capture.
Yeah, but even since then with the big Canelo fight, the only way I think we'll see him lose if he gets old. And right now he still seems like at the height of his power. And you also picked another one-sided fight. I don't think the who won was shocking. I just think the way he did it was kind of shocking because he just dominated the fight. Like, going into that fight, nobody knew. It was like a toss-up. Like, who's Spence and Earl? That was like the super fight at that point. Like, who's gonna best each other in this fight? And Bud showed there was levels to this shit. So that's a good pick for a favorite fight as well. I think that. What you got, Steve?
Well, mine would be I would say a very important aspect in any combat sport. If you take a loss, you get it back, which means you went through adversity to, regain what was taken or to overcome. And one of those fights were Izzy and Pierre, the second one. And this is when, we're like, oh man, these past, anytime they had altercations as far as like fighting and different promotions, or this one, it was looking, we were counting Izzy out, and you sort of don't want to be in a position like DC and John Jones, somebody that you couldn't overcome. You were the best, but you couldn't beat this guy, so you're not the best. So I would say, which gave him some, I would say some timeline on his charisma still, although, he's been losing and he has to get back on track. Izzy, he got his win back, which means it solidified him back. And I think if he get lost to him again, his legacy probably would have been tarnished, just like DC and John Jones, if that makes sense.
You think Izzy's legacy is going to be tarnished?
if he would have lost that last fight
Oh,
to Pereira and
okay.
been in a situation like DC and John Jones, he was, and then DC got some of that back because he went 2-time champion, say a heavyweight and gained that. But as far as like individualizing having a champion in a weight class and you didn't beat the best guy there, kind of puts a stain on your legacy as far as that weight class. And I think that would have happened to him if he didn't win that fight with Pierre.
Yep, I know what you mean, because DC's known as the guy that could never beat John Jones, and Izzy would have been the guy that could never beat Alex. But he took that from Alex.
Yeah, and now it's like a little bit tarnished in a different way, just from losing. But definitely, that was definitely a legacy fight in the grand scheme of things. So I guess I'll finish this one off. My favorite fight during the length of the show is a little bit more on the competitive side of things and kind of foreshadowing to the next show we're doing. We recap 320. I'm gonna go with Khalil Roundtree and Alex Pereira. Going into that fight, nobody really gave Roundtree a chance. I think he's ranked like number 8 or 9 at the time. And first 2 or 3 rounds, I'm like, oh, he might pull this off because he was catching Pereira. And then he just got tired and he was just taking abuse. And like I said, kind of foreshadowing when he just fought this past weekend, which we'll talk about in the next show. But yeah, I think that put Roundtree on the map as far as we got to pay attention to this guy. He's violent when he swings, and sometimes he gasses out, I think, which was happening with Pierre, and Pierre ended up finishing him, I think, in the 4th round, but that was a back and forth war. So that's what I'll go with for my favorite fight during the length of the show. But moving on to the next subject, and I'll let you kind of start where you finished, Steve. What was your favorite finish of the length of the show?
Man, I would say that got some big hype around it. I would say when Holloway knocked out Gaethje, that was crazy.
Well, hold your thought on that because somebody else picked that. So. Well, I got this one queued up already. You also picked Pierre versus Adesanya too. So
my bad. I thought that was the last question, so I gave my last question.
Well, yeah, we'll have that as your favorite fight too. Let's take a quick look at when when Adesanya was able to sleep Pierre in that second fight.
Now Pineda stalking here late in the round. There's that leg kick again.
That one hurt him. He saw him buckle with that low kick. He's going to limit him to southpaw.
Oh, nice body shot.
Pineda so dangerous.
Another body shot. That body shot. Oh, he didn't even know it. He thought he had him.
He got him back.
Is this the one he looked at his son?
He got him back.
Finally claim to a win over Alex Pineda, who's out cold.
There you go.
This is it, right? This is
He got him back.
He did the same thing his son did to him.
That's classic. That's classic right there.
Yeah, that's probably the last we've seen Izzy beat Izzy. I don't know. You think he'll be able to rebound? I mean, he's lost a couple fights.
I think he's getting towards his he has to reinvent himself or he's going to decline. I mean, that's what I think, because now he has people coming up the ranks beating him and he's not staying prestige. So he's going, he might get lower and lower on the card.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, well, we'll see. He still got a little bit of time, spring chicken, but we'll see what Izzy does. What you got for us, Chris?
I got the Wilder losing fight, man. He lost to what's his name?
Zhang Zhang.
Yeah, man. And I just, this was supposed to be Wilder's coming back party, and it didn't go the way he wanted to. So it's like, Wilder, what are you doing? Like, it's almost like when I look at him now, like, do you really want to keep doing this, or are you just getting a check? Like, he wasn't prepared for this fight at all in my eyes. So it was just sad to see him go out like this. And I don't know if I could look at him the same.
Let's take a look at it when Wilder wins this thing.
Yeah. He's 3-2. Oh, he comes. And down goes the bronze bomber. Is this how it ends? Is this the end of Deontay Wilder's career?
Finish. He is gone. He's not making this count, son.
9.
This fight is finished.
It's over. Big bang. Shaylee Zhang has just knocked out Deontay Wilder.
You know what?
I hate
That
seeing
kind of
that.
reminds me of Zab Judah when he got caught and tried to talk to the ref, and then he ended up
Who he
falling.
was fighting?
I can't remember, but somebody stung him real good, and he tried to get up and talk to. I can't remember if he came up from a knockdown or got stung and tried to talk to the ref. But that's what that reminded me of. He was. I know everybody reacts different to getting hit, but his head wasn't in the game. It looked like he was trying to talk to the ref.
Yeah, like which way did he go in? I mean, Wilder was falling off even before then, but that was like, man, he's really
It
kind
was
of
sad to see it like that. It was sad. That was
he's rebounded against the can his last fight. So let's hope we get him and Joshua before they both hang it up. That would be, I think, both of their retirement fights should be. But what you got to admire?
Yep, the one Steve said, Gaethje and Holloway, man, that last second knockout where they just threw down, classic Max Holloway style. I mean, I think not even during our time, I think it's one of the greatest knockouts of all time.
Yeah, and just the build up from it, the last 10 seconds and Max pointing down to the mat and say, let's throw down. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting actually, or coincidence. I picked that as my MMA before you told me your pick, and Steve picked that as well. So all three of us picked that as our favorite fight. So,
I mean, I think what was the most special thing about it is Max was winning that fight 100%. He didn't have to do that. He, just threw it all out there. He gave Gaethje the chance to win that fight. Like, that's how crazy he is. So props to him. That's crazy.
Let's take a look at the end of Holloway and Gaethje.
Nice jab to the body by Max. Another hard low kick. Now it's forced him to change stances. That left leg is destroyed.
Finally, in minute 25, Holloway shows some mortality.
Look at this. Holloway just told him, stand right here.
Oh, big connection late.
Nobody expected that.
Nasty. I mean, that's probably gotta go for best finish last 20 years or so. I have to go back and look at the super early days of UFC, but I don't know if anybody could top that as far as just the drama.
Who's winning that fight?
Max Holloway was winning it. And so that's what I'm saying. He didn't have to offer to exchange and give Gaethje a chance to catch him, and he did. Could you imagine if you bet a shit ton of money on that fight to go to the distance and like you're getting ready to celebrate and then that shit happens?
Devastating.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been able to live that down, but yeah, that's definitely one of the best we've ever seen. So, like I said before, everybody told me their picks. I couldn't choose between MMA and boxing, so I kind of cheated. I had the Holloway, and I actually have a tie for boxing one. So the first one that I couldn't decide to choosing from, this has happened back in earlier part of our show. This was back in May. This was on the Haney Lomachenko undercard. It's Junto Nakatani, the super flyweight, versus Andrew Maloney. So let's take a quick look at this finish and get y'all thoughts on it.
Hand floors Maloney.
Flatline. And with the MMA with the smaller gloves, you see a little bit more knockout. So him getting flatlined like that, you have to probably take a few months suspension off after getting knocked out like that, right?
Yeah. 1,000%.
And the second one I chose. Go ahead, Steve.
I said take the year off.
Yeah, just take the year off. And speaking of Jake Paul, this next one was on the undercard of Jake Paul and Mike Perry. This was I think July of 2024. This is Ashton Silva versus Lucas Body. So let's take a look at the end of this one.
Good right from Body. And another one.
I'll run it back one more time.
Good right from Buddy.
Ooh, stood him up and took him down.
Face down.
Contender Lucas Prince Buddy has just eviscerated Ashton H2.
Yeah, face down. So that's why I couldn't shoot, because if you go face down like that, you know it's bad.
Stood him up and took him down. Man, ouch.
Yeah, flatline. So, yeah, so we just went through some of our favorite finishes of the length of the show. So, getting close to the end, but we still got a few more topics before we get on out of here. And I just want to go around and get people's MVPs of the length of the show. It could be strictly based off fighting. It could be sales views out of the ring and cage. So I'll let you kick it off, Admire. Who's been your MVP since we started this show in the combat sports world?
Man, there's so many great fighters that have done a lot of good stuff since we started. A lot have come and went, but there's been just like a select few that have really stood out and just like been there. I got to say, for me, Alex Pereira, even though, he started off, with what we just looked at, that loss to Izzy. But if you look at what he's done since, that loss, he just fought the other night, Let's take a look. I'm going to go over what he's done since that loss to Izzy. I think he's got 5. Let's see. Lost to Izzy. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He had 5 wins. That he lost to Ankalaev, and then he just beat Ankalaev. So, I mean, he has multiple fights in that time that we've been podcasting. He went up to light heavyweight after that loss to Izzy. Then he won the vacant light heavyweight title, and he held it all that time. And then he lost to Ankalaev back in March of this year. And then he just won it back. I mean, he was just on a tear. Beat Jerry twice, Jamal Hill, John, Khalil. You mentioned the Khalil fight earlier. I mean, I don't think it gets any better than that. I think Alex at this point is the new face of the UFC. I don't think that there's a bigger star right now. I don't think there's anybody that's more active than him. I think he has just everything that it takes. So he is my MVP.
That's a good pick. As far as like the MMA world, the past 2.5 years we doing the show, I can't think of really on the male side of things of any fighter that's gotten the most buzz as far as Pierre goes. So that's definitely a good pick. Who's your MVP, Chris?
I'm going UFC. John Jones.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. He's the big dog. Hasn't lost. Can't see him lose to anybody. I don't know who can beat him. He don't feel like he can lose to anybody. No one believes he can lose to anybody. And he's just been running that wave. Every time he gets in the ring, he wins. He's a winner. And he walks around like he's a winner. That's it. He's a big dog. And he's in his heavyweight. So it's not like he's in no lower class. He's the top dog. He's the baddest man on the planet. Period.
So since the length of this show, he's fought once. He fought right before we started the show. He fought on like 285. I think our first recap was 286 with Edward. So he fought one. He fought Stipe.
He fought recently.
He fought Stipe. This was back in 2024. So he's fought once since in the show. But since we started the show, but I think his fight has been like the highest grossing UFC pay-per-view. So you have a point. I mean, he probably is the MVP because when he fights, he's a legend. People tune in. I want to say I think he was just under 1 million buys, and that's like when we talk about other shows. It's been a lack of star power in the UFC, and he definitely brings the eyes on it. So he does make a good case for MVP because
I think that fight with Stipe, I think that was the most anticipated fight of like probably the last 3 years, maybe 4 years. So, I mean, I can definitely see that.
Yeah, definitely. So I would make a case because like I said, it doesn't have to be necessarily strictly in the cage because he definitely brings a lot of eyes outside the cage as well. And
he moved up weight classes,
Yeah.
Like you said, the Surreal Gone fight right before we started, he moved up to a heavyweight and then took on Stipe, which some consider the heavyweight GOAT, and made it look easy. So I have no arguments.
Yeah. So also rest in peace to his brother, Arthur Jones. Yeah.
Football player, right?
Yeah.
NFL.
Yeah. So who's your MVP, Steve?
as far as like,
Since we started the show, most valuable combat sports person.
I'm gonna have to say two, and I think the second one in my mind has been within the show. First one is Ilia Topuria.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Eli Superior. Yep.
Featherweight, left that, vacated it, and went to lightweight. And he said if anything wasn't blocking him, which I beg to differ. He said he would go to welterweight. I mean, that's the mentality of a champion you want to see. He believes in himself and be on a tear, KOing people. And like I said, another one of my mentions, but it wasn't as big as Holloway's, was when Topuria knocked out Max Holloway. Nobody ever would think that would happen. And he got that one off on the height. I mean, before that loss, he was at the height of his career. So Max Holloway. So that, and I can't remember if it's within the show. I think it is. Got to pay respects to her, Amanda Nunes. She left on top still.
That's a good question. I can't remember the last time, Amanda. I think we may have done one Amanda fight since the show.
I think I saw a thumbnail with her on it when I was scrolling through our those, but I'm not too sure.
That's a good test of my
Yeah.
memory. We did her in the Aldana fight. That was her last fight.
Yep.
Oh, wow. Damn, we only done one Amanda fight. It's crazy. And she's coming back, so hopefully we'll be able to, do a recap and preview of her and Kayla Harrison are supposed to be, getting into it. So.
I think that's much anticipated in the MMA community. Something she came out for a challenge, so I think that's a lot of people are waiting for that one.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you put a lady in there because none of us have picked any ladies so far. So, shout out to Amanda Nunes, the GOAT. She comes back soon, so looking forward to previewing and reviewing her fight. But I'm gonna go kind of the unconventional route, fellas. Talking about somebody we talked about earlier. I'm not going strictly inside the ring. I'm gonna go with Jake Paul as the MVP since we started the show. Had the balls, like you said, Emma, to fight the king of violence, who we talk about in the next show, Mike Perry, who brings Mike Tyson out of retirement. Who does that? I can't remember if the Silva fight was within the realms of us doing the show, but he fought Anderson Silva, one of the greatest MMA boxers. Even though it's a different sport, he still fought him. And man, was it Tyson won Paul's last fight, or has he fought since then? I want to say he fought this year. Really?
Was the last.
Could have swore he fought once this year.
He fought Nate though, right? Nate as well.
Yeah.
Both Nates, Nate Diaz and Nate Robinson. You know what I'm saying?
Jake Paul fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Jake Paul, he's the Shane Sung of boxing. He'll fight somebody lower and takes their stardom from beating them. I mean, I lost total respect for Tyron Woodley after his loss as far as a fighter. And don't forget, the whole NBA community, they're kind of being nice about it, but dog Nate Robinson when he got knocked out. Okay. So he been taking souls.
So low key, since we started this show,
he's had a lot of fights.
He's probably been the most active guy. So
Fighter.
he fought Nate Diaz, fought Andre August, fought Ryan Burlow, 2 cans with Andre and all. Then he fought Perry, then he fought Tyson, then he fought Julio Cesar Chavez, Tyson's a former world champion, but
fought Fury's brother.
Yeah, that was right. Yeah, that was right before we started the show. But Julio Cesar Chavez, that's a former world champion. I mean, and he always brings eyes, so you got to give it to the kids.
And we got Tank up next, right? That's next, Tank.
Yeah, that's coming up in November, Tank. So we, as much as Chris Lowe's, we're gonna be previewing and recapping that fight. So be on the lookout for that for next month. It's crazy. I forgot it's October already, so that's coming up soon. But finish off this 100 episode extravaganza. I kind of want to look into the future. So next 2.5 years, God willing, next 100 episodes, who do you think will be the most accomplished combat sports athlete in the next 2 years? And I'll kick it off. Somebody who I didn't know Admire had so much admiration for is glowingly. He talked about it on the last show. I gotta go with the middleweight champion, Hamzat Chimaev. I just don't think nobody's gonna touch guy. It was between either him or Morale, who we'll talk about in the next show, but I don't think anybody's gonna touch Chimaev. Like, he's got the grappling, he can stand up, and he took care of DDP. I'm like, man, nobody's gonna really test this guy in the next 2, 3, 4, or 5 years. As long as he doesn't get any injuries or anything, I think he'll probably accomplish the most in the next 2.5 years, the next 100 episodes. So that's who I have. Who you got, Admire?
Yeah, that was going to be my pick is Chimaev. I agree with everything you said. So get that out of the way. Chimaev, that's going to be number one. That should be everybody's obvious pick. After that, I got to say Taporia. I think Taporia is just about the same. Crazy hands. Nobody is going to be able to stand with that dude. I think his takedown defense is going to be the bigger key factor. You know, usually you're going to get one of them Dagestani guys that uses that sambo wrestling to take people down. I think Taporia's got enough balance and, you know, takedown defense to negate that, and then he can piece them up on the feet. I think Taporia's going to be one of those, you know, people that just goes on an undefeated streak for a very long time. So I expect Taporia to be, you know, just as good, you know, in the top 3 pound for pound for the next few years.
And him carrying that knockout power, the lightweight, is scary too. So yeah, I can't go against that pick either. So going off that, Steve, we can't. So we took Taporia and Chimaev off the table. So I might be putting you on the spot. Who would you put as probably the most accomplished person to maybe accomplish things in the next 2 years or so?
Well, I have 2 people, and the reason why, all they have to do, they're solidified already, and probably only have to do one more to solidify that, to where these other fighters have a little bit of ways to go to maintain their titles or, you know, be within the UFC. But I would say John Jones and Amanda Nunes. I think John Jones, all he has to do is have one fight, get him out. He's undefeated. We already know he's the GOAT, the Michael Jordan of MMA. All he needs is one more. Boom. I'm solidified. We talking about him in the Hall of Fame, and he ain't got to fight again. Amanda Nunes, which isn't as a prestige record, but she's still, as far as women in MMA, she's top dog. So if she beats Kayla Harrison, she's done. And I bet you she only got a contract because she got called out for a fight, you know. And I'm guessing Amanda is making contracts just probably for one fight, most likely. It's not like she chose to get back in the ring to fight, you know, multiple people in her contract. I think she's doing a one contract, and she'll be solidified in women's MMA as the GOAT, which she already is.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely an interesting pick. I can see that. I mean, John Jones is already a Hall of Famer, even if he doesn't take this another fight. But if he does, which would probably be Tom Aspinall, like, he just shut all the naysayers up. So I definitely can roll with that pick too. And Amanda Nunes is the GOAT, and Kayla Harrison was her former teammate, so that would definitely be a legacy fight. So I'm not mad at those 2 picks. So I'll have you bring us on home, Chris. Hopefully it's in the boxing world because everybody went MMA.
I know. I was going to pick MMA guy. Well, you know, I have high hopes in boxing for Stevenson. If we want to go that way.
It's not a bad pick.
You know,
It's not a bad pick.
I think it's about to be his turn. I think all the other guys are fading out. I think it's about to be his time to take over. He's in a good camp. He's been winning. So in the next 2 to 3 years, I hope he takes over and be the ring of boxing. So I think it's about to be his time. I know he wants it right now, but everybody had to wait their turn. So I think his turn's coming up next.
Yeah, Shakur Stevenson, he's like the boxer's boxer. Like, a lot of casual fans don't appreciate him, I guess, because the finishes aren't there. But whose defense has been as good as his since, like, a Mayweather? I don't know if anybody's had good defense in the game right now as Stevenson, you know? And I think he's definitely got to take a tank fight, though. You think that put him to that next level, next stratosphere? What's up?
Not really. No. He just got to get on the belt. No, he got to get on the belt and be the top dog, and everybody got to be challenging him. That's how you got to go. Sometimes you don't get those fights. I don't think Tank's going to fight him. I think Tank's on his way out. If he's fighting Paul, he's on his way, not trying to fight anybody serious. So that's okay. He don't need that fight on his belt. He can make his own legacy. He get all the belts, and people have to come up his route.
You don't think that'll put a little stain on Tank's eye, so to speak, or record or legacy? If Tank retires and doesn't want to fight Stevenson, wouldn't that make Tank look bad though?
Tank's not in it for the money. I mean, Tank's in it for the money. I don't think Tank's in it for the legacy.
Not anymore. I don't think he's in it for the legacy anymore either. But don't they argue back and forth quite often? Don't they talk shit to each other?
Yeah, but he's not in it to fight. Like, name the guys in the last 10 fights of Tank who was in the top, whatever. Like, he's not fighting the top. He don't care about the belts. He's not trying to do that. He knows he brings a name. He could fight a B-level fighter and win that B-level fight and get the money. So he's not worrying about the legacy. He's not trying to fight. There's a list of people he can fight. There's like at least 3 guys right now he should fight, and he's not taking those fights on. So it's all right. Maybe 4 or Roach rematch, whatever. So there's like 4 guys. He's not taking those fights, and we all see it. So now I don't think anybody needs to run that way. You see what Tank is. Tank already established what he wants to be in his career. So let him go on his route. You grab all the belts. Now everybody got to come barking up your tree. And then you just go up weight classes. You got to kind of do what Bud did. Bud took a long time. He's been calling those guys out. They didn't want to fight him. He gets one big fight, and now he's fighting Canelo. So that's just how it works.
Yes. So what if Shakur fights like Ryan Garcia and
easy one, fam.
I don't think he'll fight Teofimo. I think Teofimo might be a little bit big. But what if he fights like a Haney and a Garcia? Would that be like, kind of like not the same as a Tank, but that would like, add to his legs?
He'll be doing what he's supposed to do.
Consolation prize.
He'll be doing what he's supposed to do. Like I said, right now he should just be racking up the belts. Forget about the big names, racking up the belts, and now he's the top dog. Now everybody gotta go see him. Once he gets all the belts, they gotta go see him. And that's how you do it. You rack all the belts, they gotta come talk. They gotta knock on your door.
I was gonna say, doesn't Rolly Romero have a belt that Shakur could go get?
I think Rolly's up there at 147. I mean, he have to put some pounds.
I think he's trying to fight. Well, he's trying to fight Pacquiao next, right?
Yeah, isn't Pacquiao? I think
Pacquiao about to fight Rolly right now next. But that's what I would do if I'm Stevenson. Rack up all these belts. These guys don't want to fight you. Okay, be the next challenger. Make sure they force you to fight. They don't want to fight. They give up their belt. You take that belt, and then next thing you know, you got all the belts. Everybody got to come knocking on your door. And that's it. So I got big hopes for him. I think he'll get his fights. Maybe not this year, but in 2 years, he'll be the top dog.
I know as far as popularity, he wasn't as popular until he fought Gervonta, but since that fight, do you think Lamont Roach has entered the chat as far as like being around these fighters we're talking about, Stevenson, since that fight with Gervonta, since it was a tie?
No, I think because he keeps banking on fighting Tank again. Tank don't want to do that fight again. So right now he has to move on from that and give us other fights with Ryan, with all these other fighters. There's so many fighters in that. I don't think Roach should even try to run back to the Tank fight. I don't even think Tank should run back to that. That fight's going to be back in the backlog for them to run that back later anyway, if they wanted to. I think Roach got to show us a little bit more and show us what he can do with these other fighters. If he did good against Tank, all right, let's see him do something else with Stevenson and the rest of them.
I was going to say that fight between Roach and Tank Davis was like 7-8 months ago. Roach to be trying to capitalize on that and get back in there and make some money already. Like that Davis rematch isn't going to happen. He should be in there just getting after it.
I think he's got a matter of fact, my memory. I think he's fighting Pitbull.
Oh, see, there you go. That's what I'm saying. So
he's fighting
Pitbull. Shows what he does against Pitbull.
I think so. Yeah, his next fight that's coming up.
Who, Roach?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah, you gotta stay busy. He should capitalize on this.
Oh, it is in December. Yeah, I didn't know he had one booked. It is.
Whole cruise, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, you got to capitalize on this moment. This is a big moment. He should capitalize. He should have had like 2 fights already.
Well, for sure. Well, I'm definitely with you. I think Shakur has the opportunity to become the next big thing. Is like you said, you just got to rack up the belts. Even though I think Tank is kind of lame for not trying to take the biggest challenge, but it is what it is. We'll see. But yeah, fellas, it's been a fun show coming towards the end of things. It's been a crazy past 2 years, and I've enjoyed doing this show definitely with y'all guys. And I just want to thank all 3 of y'all because, this is very time-consuming things, and y'all didn't have to take y'all time to go out and do the show, especially newly married Chris and engaged Admire and married Steve. All y'all have wives and fiancés. I'm the only one that doesn't, but yeah, I definitely appreciate y'all hopping on board. And here's to another 2.5 years or another 100 episodes. I appreciate it, fellas.
No problem.
Definitely.
Man.
It's
No
fun.
problem.
Fun doing it.
For sure. And make sure for those listening, make sure to follow us on all social media platforms. We're trying to get the show to the next level, and we'll do that with the help of the listeners. And we got a 101 dropping after this the next day. So be on the lookout for that. We recapping 320 and BKFC 82. But like I said, here's to another 100 episodes. And that'll do it for us here at Haymaker Combat Sports. Until next time, be safe out there. Later.
This is Haymaker Combat Sports. Here, coming straight from the source. Only with the real, they ain't here to dress it up. Sweet science, MMA, you can get it all from us. Trust, 5 stars, cause it's